Hi everyone. So here is Moonlight Soul back from my vacation honeymoon in Bali and Marissa from Growing the Flow. So we are actually recording this kind of on time right before November begins. No pre-recording anymore. But this is episode 43, Stars and Cards. And yeah, Marissa, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here and it's a pleasure to be back.
Yes, welcome back. And yeah, believe it or not, it seems like it's been so long, and yet it's as if we're just picking right up where we left off. Still curious to go back and check out October because you and I were tuning into that ahead of everything, and I know some things came up that surely played out. So now here for November, we're gonna tune in and see what's coming up here for this last trimester that we're moving through. Halfway through, right? The second of the 3 months. So we're almost there.
Yeah, and I know for you and I, usually Scorpio is quite interesting time of the year, being fixed signs
Yeah.
naturally in our birth chart. So yeah, I know for myself, usually Scorpio. Last year, Scorpio was a very long season for me. So let's see how this one plays out.
Same, yes. So we tuned in, we picked our decks and we got all caught up. So we're ready to go. We're going to bring in our Queen of the Moon card first to just start chatting on those lunations, and then we'll move into our Psychic Tarot and a special new Oracle deck at the end. So let's see. I'm going to reveal the card that we pulled.
Oh
Oh,
wow! Perfect card for Scorpio season.
yes, so here we go. We've got sovereignty coming in. Is that 41? Is
Yep,
that Yeah, okay. So, coming in here with the overarching energy of sovereignty through our lunations, which are starting right next week already as we enter into November with that full moon in Taurus, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's that she's holding there right at the center? Yeah. So we're still in a lot of emotional movements, and solar plexus is involved, and I'm feeling that energy of finding that sense of power there in the center.
Yeah, and I really feel because obviously being in Scorpio season, a lot of things are resurfacing, from the depths, especially at the moment when we're recording this, Mars is still in Scorpio in a sign of his traditional rulership. And we know that with the Sun in Scorpio, Mars in Scorpio, soon, obviously, Mercury is still in Scorpio, going to be moving into Sagittarius, then retrograding back into Scorpio. So we have all this Scorpionic energy present, and obviously Pluto now direct, no longer retrograde. Saturn will be stationing direct in November. Uranus will be going back into Taurus right before that full moon in Taurus. So we have all these energies at play, which are bringing to the surface of our consciousness all these things that have created our foundation until this point, which is not necessarily stable anymore. So there is definitely a lot of emotions that are resurfacing with that as well. Obviously, everything transiting through Scorpio is going to trine Jupiter in Cancer, who is also just about to station retrograde on 1111 portal, and also trine in that North Node in Pisces. So there are all these grand water trines going on in the sky, and that is a lot of emotion, which is helping us to become more empowered. So I feel this card is definitely right on point with that full moon in Taurus, and then obviously at the end of Scorpio season we'll have that new moon in Scorpio on the 28th degree.
Yeah, 'tis the season where we talk about all the elimination and things that are being excreted out through what's being pulled up from the depths in either direction. So there is this sense of bringing us into the center, and moving through all of that uncertainty, which of course with the energy of the 41 bringing in the frequency of that 5, change and transition, and in the chaos and the confusion of all of that, and in the mush of the chrysalis. And this week on the sharecast, we got the werewolf card because we're doing a Halloween theme as we wind down October. And similar to what we've been talking about, this excruciating metamorphosis process of turning into mush and being in the dark of the chrysalis, not yet knowing about the coming out as the butterfly. The werewolf, it was describing that bone crushing, flesh pulling experience of transforming from man into beast, and all of the emotion and all the things that, of course, pulled by the moon. So it was just an interesting parallel to more of this, change and transition and all the discomfort and all of the ways that we might get pulled, where coming back to center is really being highlighted here, to finding that sense of equilibrium from within, sovereign, it's all within me, regardless of what's going on outside. Really coming back into self, and again, hermit, the year of the hermit, going out with a culmination and graduation ceremony of it being about your inner sense of sovereignty and discernment and self being the way forward, and shining that then out into the new beginnings of 2026.
That's what I was just thinking, like looking at the 41 being the 4 and 1, and the 4 being the Saturn card. And then we know that a lot of us are potentially feeling restricted or feeling like how things are not necessarily going our way. The structure or the stability is not necessarily there, or the boundary question obviously has been spoken about many times. And the 1, as the new beginning, the magician being part of the 10, which we're going to enter into in 2 months. The one thing that became like present with me with regards to the number 5, it's how it makes you be present, through the chaos and the unexpected. We actually forced to get off the hamster wheel and our constant repetition of the routine and patterns and stuff, and like be present. So I feel with this 4-1, in the case of like, where do you feel restricted, perhaps, where, these unexpected things can happen, or, like I said, Uranus going back into the sign of Taurus, currently on the 0 point when we're recording this in Gemini retrograde, but going back into Taurus for the final time for many of us in our lifetime. Some people, if watching this, that are still, young, they might experience Uranus back in Taurus in their life, but I don't think I'll be here for that. So we are becoming very aware of what really matters, through being maybe shaken into the present moment, which again, boundaries could be crossed. We can be restricted, feel restricted, or just feel like, this is not what I want anymore, with regards to the Taurus, like it doesn't hold the same value or the meaning. And, being the Scorpio season, this could be very deep things that are coming up, resurfacing for us, coming up, coming back from the shadow, back from the past. This is all about that shadow work. And we know, as we here in Europe just experience that clock moving back. I know for you in US, it will be this upcoming weekend. Yeah, it's very dark, very early. We got the extra hour of sleep, but it's getting early, very dark. So this is the time of the year where people are forced to just sit at home and feel whatever they feel, So yeah, and that eventually leads to our the opportunity to claim the sovereignty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely bringing it very quickly brings you back into the center of where we're being directed to focus, despite whatever distraction energy and coping mechanisms and all the things. So I think the more that we allow for that to come up and to view that again with as much objectivity as we can, or curiosity, wonder into what this thing, whoa, where did you come from? I didn't realize I was still, holding on to something like that, or I'm feeling something that is familiar, but I thought I had already cleared, all those things, that there's something, another layer, there's something else to explore there, that ultimately is continuing to reveal another layer of your most authentic self. So
Hmm.
definitely feels like these lunations will be a part of that process for sure as we move through. So, yeah, let's see what our first card from the Psychic Tarot is bringing for the beginning of November to go with. So, we'll see. Oh, I put them
Oh,
back.
wow. In reverse.
There we go. Flip them around. It probably means I pulled them that way. So that is the ace. Isn't that the ace of
Ace of
yeah,
Pentacles, right?
oh, nice. So something that's being seeded, something new, prosperity begins. So there's this sense of a new beginning, or again, in that depth, what's going on beneath the surface stages, and perhaps in the realm of relationships and connections, and the roles that we're playing, that are bringing forward prosperity. That there's abundance to be unearthed from all of that, but before we get to all the fruit, we go through the dirt and the fertilizer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously for me, as being just about to relocate back to Mexico for another chapter, but this time with my partner, it's gonna be, yeah, very different, like same, but very different. So it is about what are we, and obviously Scorpio being in opposition with Taurus, having the opportunity to dig deep to realize, with regards to what really matters, like what we want to be part of the foundation for the upcoming times, the roots of the tree to grow to then bear fruit. So yeah, whatever this, however this is showing up for people and whatever this means to individuals, it's for each to decide because of this Scorpio Taurus energy, water and the earth, with the Taurus being all about you, your needs, values, self-esteem, self-worth, and Scorpio teaching you, helping you to see through the experiences that might not be always comfortable. This is, obviously we know this is auspicious card. It's an opportunity to create the new foundation based on what do you want to manifest in the physical realm, because obviously being pentacles, the embodiment of the wish, of the desire, even though we do start the month with the full moon, which is, not necessarily a seeding process, but we know everything is kind of very fluid with astrology at the moment. Let's not get stuck on definitions and old patterns. So yeah, you might get the illumination of something that got seeded potentially in April when we had the new moon in Taurus. But it doesn't mean that this is where it ends. You can always start again. Decide on something different or something else, if that which you got seeded back in springtime, or depending which hemisphere you are on, is now being shown that this is not really it, or it needs some work, or whatever it needs, because we can see there are two hands, there is like a support, like also with regards to the Aquarian energy, you don't have to do it alone. We are not, this is not the time of the lone wolf anymore in the Aquarian age. It is about coming together in resonance to create the foundation for the better for everyone.
Yeah, and it takes many hands. And there's this sense of both cards actually are depicting that holding in the hands, which also tells me this is like your tangible physical experiences that are happening, boots on the ground. And one of the things that I was thinking when you said that about, full moons are not necessarily seeding, but yet something else is culminating and ending and being illuminated, because we do see apples on the tree here and we see the seed. So I think that something that has been brewing, something maybe perhaps seeds planted in April, may be ready to examine that fruit and see what's come from it, that actually we can determine whether or not it yielded the results we expected, or if it's something that actually, what, those apples are sour, that's not what I was expecting, but it ends up serving then to be the fertilizer. I was feeling like, I was thinking that this morning when I put my mushrooms on, because I was feeling very for Scorpio season, like what is released and what is let go and shed in with this, with that full moon, ultimately serves as the fertilizer, ultimately serves to create that fertile ground for the new seeds that are being planted and for what will come forward. But,
Mm.
it's closing out the cycles and, these chapters that we do see fruit. And that's the thing too, is to recognize that even if it didn't work out the way that you expected or yield the fruit that you wanted, it's done, it's complete, it did what it was meant to do. And that when we come to it from the openness to yield, to get from it whatever it had to teach us, or whatever the lesson, that we then take into partnership with something new that we're creating, some new seeds we're planting, that are being fertilized in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise had it not been for that. So it feels like there's a lot of both things are happening simultaneously. We're
Mm.
finishing out, and we're planting the new as we move into this month. So some people may be finding some things that are, culminating and finishing, and then others might be launching new projects or new things, new beginnings, new locations, all the new things, and of course, pentacles like to remind us patience. That's
Yeah,
slow,
yeah, takes time.
right? So, of course, we start the month with that energy of just sort of pacing us as we go and grow, through it all. So,
I just think it's so funny that, like, personally for me, I left PV right after the new moon, like Mexico, where I'm returning to right after the new moon in Taurus, which was right before my birthday. And now this will be the first lunation experiencing going back. So, it really it's interesting like how it's not even like life comes full cycles, but how everything is cyclical. We just
Yeah.
building up next layer on the same thing.
Yeah, and that's crazy how yeah, you're right. And so then you go back there into the full moon of Taurus. So yeah, you're really bringing it. I can see that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for you. So yeah, it's going to hit for everybody differently, but thinking about your personal experience and the way endings and new beginnings are showing up for you here at this time. And then as we move into the month, we bring in more pentacles. Okay,
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
good.
some harvest will come. I see an apple there. So this is the nine of pentacles, right? Coming in with material harvest. So that's the thing. It really, just because it doesn't show up the way we expected, just because it's not exactly there's still so much to be gleaned from. I mean, and this is like culminating this whole year. We're reflecting back on, everything we've moved through. This would be pretty typical of that, penultimate month before the year ends, that there's a lot of that. And of course, it's November, so that's a season of gratitude and abundance. And, whether it's Thanksgiving or something about a harvest, this is showing that it's bountiful.
Yeah, and again, I have only my own life to compare this to, and that will be right after my sacred union ceremony. So that is definitely like, yeah, that's definitely connected. But yeah, it's also interesting because it is the card number nine, and we are in the number nine year, which is now slowly but surely culminating, coming to its end. And yeah, and it's the Scorpio season. So this is definitely the final elimination, let's just say, of whatever needs to be ending or eliminating, or whatever needs to, like you said, be turned into fertilizer, for the like just as even as we say about the phoenix, to rise from the ashes, what needs to be burned down or whatever. So yeah, again, whatever this means to people. And yeah, we have in this 1111 portal in November, which is one of the most significant portals of the year, adds up to number four. We have the number 41, and number four is the new structure. So I really feel that this month is very significant because it's the last fixed sign of this year, and the fixed energy is unmistakable. With the cardinal energy, there is always the beginning of the new season, but we don't know what the season holds. We don't know where we're going. And with the mutable is always the preparation for the transit from one season to another, which will then follow with the last card, the end of the month, Sagittarius season. But the Scorpios, the fixed sign, which in this case is the Scorpio, is unmistakable. And obviously being ruled by Pluto, and Pluto now being direct, I think, probably after this full moon in Taurus, many of us might have really like embodied realization, not just the realization mental, but embodied realization of what this means for you as the preparation for the next year to follow, the year 2026, which of course we know is the year number 10, the wheel of fortune, the one and the zero, the fool and the magician, which will be the year of reset. Like whatever it is that you now in this month deciding and choosing to let go of, eliminate, in order to step into your sovereignty, claim your sovereignty, to create this new foundation so you can harvest not necessarily just the fruit of your labor, but everything that you've learned this year. Because this is the first full year with Pluto in Aquarius. There was no more Capricorn ingress. And of course, this was the first year with Neptune, Saturn in a Aries sign, now obviously back in Pisces for their final retrograde, and Uranus for the first time in the sign of Gemini. So this was a very important year. So I feel with this card is also about what did you learn, what did you gather from this year number nine that you can now use as a fertilizer or as an investment for this year to come, like however this is showing up. But I just feel that this is a very important month because then December is the end of it.
Yeah, the grand finale. Yeah, so much in that. So yeah, the embodying of everything really, I mean, it's remarkable that we have two Pentacles cards coming back to back because that's physical manifestation. It's tangible. So it's like we're embodying it. We're bringing it. It's not just a thought or a concept or an idea, but it's actually being embodied, and then in through our practice, we're creating something from it, which first I get, putting it all on the table, this sense of when all told, and I look back over this year, and oftentimes we may find ourselves in a very different place that January me could have never seen what November me was going to have on that table. And yet here we are. And I'm just putting it all out there because when I take a look at everything that's in front of me, perhaps I can begin to see what can I make with all of this. Maybe it wasn't the harvest that I expected, but what that's giving me then is the magician vibes of next year with the 10 and the 1. You have all the tools you need, right? So stepping into that magician is using them, playing with them. What can I make with this? And again, I think there's a lot of, if anything, we've been getting taught on repeat, and this is some of what we were talking about, is like expectations. And what that's one thing to leave off the table because while it is important that we have intention and we're kind of creating again that framework for what we wish, it's much more about the experience, the feeling, than it is the specifics, of exactly who, what, when, where, why, how it's going to happen. And so as we look at what it did produce, what do I wish to create with this next? And kind of taking that stock and inventory and then taking inspired action, as we then launch into the new year.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah. So let's see who's finishing it out. Is it going to be another Pentacles? No. Ooh, there comes the
Oh,
Hey, perfect. There's a look at all the hands. Look at all these there's hands on everywhere. So this is the 3 of Wands, which is, doesn't this give you actually 3 of Pentacles vibes? Like working together, partnership, but actually it's 3 of Wands, partnerships and alliances. I love that. So it's bringing in the co-creation, the collaboration of the three in this way that there's this, again, physical, tangible connection. But we're each bringing to it our own unique essence, energy, inspiration, whatever it is that's coming from here that we've harvested that we're now going to co-create into the new as we finish out the month.
yeah, and this is again like bringing us back to like what really like, especially looking at this card and how they being depicted. And it's interesting because my partner has been talking about this a lot since we arrived to Slovakia to visit my family, about how he feels that the way forward for many people, especially in like countries like my place of origin, where people feel very suppressed and disempowered, and it's not like unique situation, many countries are in this place, many people are feeling this way, where the way forward is like permaculture. Where can you come together to create as much as you can for yourself, so having less reliance and dependency on the structures and the system that might not have your best interest as a part of their best interest. So this is what I feel looking at this card, because it's so interesting that this is the conversation we've been having about growing your own food, realizing, okay, what are the essentials, what really matters, like we know that there are a lot of things that are being done to our food, the things that we need the most, essentials, water, food, air, right? And these are all being polluted and stuff. So, now being a Scorpio season, and now when we take it to the macro, a lot of things coming up to the surface, being digged out, things we don't want to look at, we don't want to see, we don't want to really have to deal with, but here they are, right? So when we really look at this from the practical perspective, with the ace, like, okay, we finding a kind of realization, like what it is I really desire. Like you said, it might not be like detailed description. I want this kind of person here. This is the location, da da da. The feeling, and this is what I feel. Jupiter in Cancer, and now, stationing slowly, surely, already in his pre-retrograde shadow, getting ready for his retrograde on November 11th, 11/11 portal. Again, not lost on us. Like, why 11/11 for Jupiter to station retrograde in Cancer, right? A lot of people are really becoming aware what it is we really want, like, is it so important for me to spend all day arguing about politics or religion or who, what, where, with who cares, what is actually important to me? And then, with these open arms, like, okay, be open to receive the abundance in whichever way it comes, like, yeah, no expectations. This is what I desire with regards to how I want to feel, how I want to go forward. And then coming to the end of the month, interestingly enough, Sagittarius season, Jupiter retrograde already, like, who are my people, being open-minded. Where is the help gonna come from? I don't know. It's all about the resonance, the frequency. Like, the main thing is for each of us to decide how do I want to feel? What it is that matter to me? What do I want to focus on in my life? If I really was given a diagnosis and had a week to live, months to live, a year to live, is this really what I will be spending time talking about, thinking about, doing? So that's what I feel like with the Scorpio season. And obviously, funny enough, the death comes online. uh, like, I mean, none of us is here indefinitely. We don't know when, but we have an expiry date. This physical shell has an expiry date, and it is a Scorpio season, which is about death and rebirth, obviously approaching the All Saints Day, right, and stuff. What is it with the Vika thing, Sohain? How you say it,
Sadly.
Yeah, Sohain.
Sadly. I know it doesn't seem like it should be. Yes.
Yeah, but
Sadly.
that's what I mean, like the
Mhm.
things really because of the Scorpio in opposition to Taurus, and we have two Pentacles, and the Three of Wands, which is about creation, co-creation. I really feel that this month, just like I said, it is a powerful month because it's bringing a powerful realization into embodiment, like where it's really, I feel, going to hit home, like what it is that been really we've been consciously or unconsciously working on coming into realization of this year, with
Yeah.
all the new energy being present simultaneously. And I think very likely this is the month when it's gonna hit you.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's so definitely feeling that and seeing. I mean, I can literally see it about this. It's me, it's we, it's this connection of all, and really ultimately, and there's something about that arm grab. It's not just like it's like support, like we each have something that can give each other a leg up or helping each other. And I think it's such an important point that you made about in small communities, in local capacity, in terms of, when we talk about what's in that fertilizer, what's in the soil that we planted it in, and what has now come to fruition through all of that. And we're like, ooh, no, I don't know if I want to continue literally or just symbolically ingesting that and taking that in. I'm going to be much more hands on, sovereign in what I am creating, what I am participating in, what I am nourishing myself with on every level. So there's just this sort of, taking accountability and then again from sovereignty and then building on that with in partnerships and alliances, in many different ways. So, again, how does that play out for people? And this can be new jobs, new beginnings, new locations, all of those things coming in, playing out in a million different ways. So, it's just that symbolism of the death of one thing, the ending of something that has been played out that's not going to take you any further, to then clearing space then and creating the ability to then birth something new. And that's kind of where it feels it goes as we get into then Sagittarius season at the end of the month, where again, people might be starting to literally move, definitely seeking out new things. And, there's this fiery energy then that comes in from all of that, will be taking shape as well.
And yeah, by the end of the month, we'll also have Mercury post retrograde, retrograding from that Sag to Scorpio back to, then going forward in December back into Sag. So there will be realization, when people like, because we know with Mercury going retrograde, it is a very important time for us to reevaluate and being Sagittarius to Scorpio and then forward from the depths of our heart, like what is the new chapter? And then obviously coming towards the last month of the year, which will dissect next time we get together for 44 episode 44. It's perfect. A lot of people will be like starting to think about, okay, what did this year really gave me, and what out of that I want to bring into the next year, or leave behind. Is that like nostalgia of another year gone, new year coming and stuff. So that will be obviously for the upcoming months. But I feel a lot of that, again, it's just like this is what really is coming to me, like the clarity, the embodiment of the clarity. So it's not just mental, it is not just theory. It's like I have the lived experience now. I've gone through this, whatever, however many years of your life, but this year especially, because this is such a pivotal year of transition from all of the old, signs and planets in the signs into these new, plus, obviously the nodes being in these Virgo Pisces axes, which are always about the spirit and the human, right? The Virgo being uh, those of us walking on earth at the moment in the physical form, and the Pisces, the spirit, those of us that are not in the form, but it's all connected. All the worlds are connected. Just as we are here on this side, like the last card is depicting, and it's like the hand up, like somebody's helping to pull you up, because yeah, this time is not necessarily easy, like just because we understand or can compassionate, it still doesn't make it easy, like a lot of us are going through situations, circumstances, relational dynamics that we can have a full understanding and awareness, but it's not easy. So this is where people really are, the more people are allowing themselves to be authentic, because Sagittarius obviously trines Leo, so that activates the Aries as well, the fire, like I don't know where this is gonna go, the mutable sign by the end of the month. We don't know where is this going to go, what is going to be birthed with the Capricorn season, the new year and stuff. Um, but there is something that's going to start burning, a new fire of desire. And I really feel that authentic expression is going to be very important for you to find your alliances, to really know based on what matters to you, what holds a value to you, what do you allow yourself to receive, and then be open to receive the abundance from whichever way it's going to come. And then, yeah, come together with people who are in resonance, not because they are better, like, it's not about somebody else's needs, values, or alliances are better or worse. It doesn't matter. I don't need to go comparing myself to the whole world. It's just like, this is who I am. And, if we have a connection, good. We don't need to go judging and peeing on somebody else's parade. So that's what I feel like. It's going to be more simple. People gonna be focusing, like, not narrow, but they're gonna be more focused rather than scattered all over.
Yeah, that's Sagittarian arrow. So it's sort of like, okay, what do I got? I just keep seeing that, putting it all out on the table. This is me, this is what I have, this is what I'm desiring. You got something, I got something, like we're gonna bring this together. But it's like we're not wasting time with pomp and circumstance and putting on airs, because we're already doing the work through Scorpio season to really get into our sovereign sense of self. And again, like you're saying, it doesn't mean that it's pretty, it doesn't make it easy, it doesn't mean that it's without its deep work and, really having to face some uncomfortable things in terms of clearing out and creating that space to bring forward the clarity of, this is what I got at the end of the day. And then it does start to then take on, it just naturally then starts to attract in the people, the places, the things that are more aligned with your more authentic self. And so a lot of that other stuff that you've experienced in the past isn't even a factor, because you've already done away with all of that, the layers, that take forever to get at the crux of, like, this is who I am, this is what I have, that's who you are. And simply coming together in a way that we have something to offer, and trusting that you do have something of value to offer, and putting it out there transparently, and then creating those partnerships and alliances through that. So it does feel like more clarity coming in, attracting in more of what feels most aligned at this time, and then perhaps some new creations and things stepping into December.
Yeah, like the sovereignty, the freedom to be yourself. And I think that's why it's funny that I suggested the oracle deck I suggested.
Speaking of which, let's see. It's a new, beautiful one. And I mean, I collect, but I don't always get a chance to use. So this is the Inner Temple by Rebecca Campbell. Beautiful. But this is going to be our first card pull. I shuffled them up, set some intention, but haven't really had a chance. So I'm excited to see what's coming forward for us to kind of punctuate the messages for November. Let's see. The Inner Temple Oracle. Chamber of Protection.
Mm. Beautiful
Beautiful.
card. It's interesting with the bumblebee at the bottom.
Yeah. So Chamber of Protection coming in, definitely bringing some light into it. So let's see. Of course, these decks are so rich. I know there's a whole method behind the different areas of the deck that each cards come in. There's no numbers, so
Hmm.
see if we can locate the message. Chamber of Protection. There we go. Okay. Page 50. So again, carrying the frequency of 5. So it here we go. Don't place your attention outside of yourself. Focus it within, right? The more you look to external sources to guide, nourish, validate, or affirm you, the more likely you'll feel off kilter. Draw your strength, draw your sense of safety, your truth, your worth from inside. If you draw your sense of safety from outside yourself, you'll forever be defending yourself from the outer world. Many see energetic protection as a sort of defense, something they need to be wary of. But if you take looking after your sacred space into your own hands, you get to decide who enters it, much like the guard bee, a natural born protector who decides who will enter the sacred space of the hive. Sometimes this card appears when you're being called to renegotiate your boundaries with places and people, which really means redefining your definition of sacred space. This card can also appear when you've become overstimulated by the energy of other people and may have been drawing your sense of self from outside rather than within. So, the Chamber of Protection is an invitation to resource yourself. You can do this by connecting with Source and the Earth and doing whatever you need to do to replenish and take care of your own needs. To give from a place of plenty, not a place of depletion and lack, for that's how resentment builds and boundaries become blurry. You're being called to tend to your energy and energetically prioritize yourself, to stop feeling like you owe anyone anything more than you owe yourself. Drop the guilt, take personal responsibility, and put your needs first. You get to define what your sacred space is and who is permitted to enter. So, wow, that really touches on a lot of things we were talking about, before and during here in terms of bringing it back in, right? All that noise and distraction out there. And it's when you do that deep work and take the time to root all that out and get clear on the boundaries, get clear on, again, that framework, then that the most aligned partnerships and alliances and all of the external responds to you. But first giving your permission to yourself to go within and hold that sacred space for you. And I'm looking at sort of the way, and I was going to see what's going on behind him because it does look like, yeah, there's a lot of lines. Like, again, the boundary thing was reminding me of like, you know, tilling the fields and clearing out and creating that perimeter and boundary to then plant the new in. But first we have to go inside. And that's interesting about the protector bee too, is kind of like being outside the perimeter to create those boundaries, to give yourself that sacred space first.
I just feel that this last card is like a key to all the other cards. It's like oh, by the way, this is behind all of it. So
Yeah.
just follow this one and everything else will fall into place and make sense for you, which is interesting because it's something that, I ended our personal talk with that, I don't know anything about anybody else's life. I only know about my life, so I can't give you answers. What is the best thing for you? Only you know. So I really feel like with that last card, it's literally just underlining all the other cards, but it's actually the secret ingredients that gives everything else the flavor. It's like, okay, if you do this one thing, don't worry, everything else will make sense. So just go within and yeah, the boundaries and yeah, this is what something that's very present, especially with Saturn, back in Pisces, now Neptune back in Pisces, because a lot of that Piscean energy, this sticky, old victimhood and the old roles we played for one another, this prosecutor and the martyr and the the hero, the savior and stuff. We are being pulled into these roles continuously, so it's like, with the sovereignty, like rising above it and just be free to be you. You don't have to play any of these other roles. So you have to come within to realize that you actually sovereign, and you don't have to be a martyr or a prosecutor or victim or or a savior or none of that. So I really feel with this final ingress into this old sign, the Pisces, and then for Uranus the Taurus, where, and I know this is something that's applicable to many people, our sense of self-worth came from outside. What can I do for you, and how you see me valuable? That's my value, right? This is like Piscean age thing. So I really feel that this last card is so important because it helps you to raise above all of that, not to get caught into that sticky web of that continuum of these role playing that we've been playing for one another for such a long time that we forget that actually I'm none of these, identities and label. I am that I am, and that's all I am, and I just came here to do my part and have an experience and get out of here. So I really feel that this card is actually the most important card because it gives you the personal understanding of your path and what all this means to you. Because I can't tell you what it is, and Marissa can't tell you what it is. Only you know what it means to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's so beautifully depicted here of you in the center of your universe. At the beginning, a five energy, and at the end, a five energy of just this sense of, really moving through this transition, this transformation, this metamorphosis. And it's always been going on here, and so in terms of, and there's so many different references with the hive mentality and the stinging versus the honey and all the things about the bee reference coming in as well, in terms of you are none of those things and we are all of those things. And so all of the roles that are happening inside your hive are you, aspects of you. And so this is calling on your protector bee to step forward in sovereignty, to hold that space, to set sacred space, to say that I am, and I am in this metamorphosis process, and I'm holding space and allowing for myself, I'm giving myself permission to release and let go of that which is no longer a part of the foundation that I'm building moving forward. And I am consciously planting, intending, and creating to have that harvest come forward. And I understand that in doing that, it's sending out the beacon to attract in the most aligned partnerships and alliances, and all of the harvest comes then with very little effort by me, because all the work is going on in here and going in through the depths and all the things of Scorpio season. But ultimately it's always been right here in your inner temple, so it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an envy because I'll have to wait till next year to get this deck.
It is beautiful, but I'll pull a card for you anytime. You let me
Thank
know.
you. So,
Vicariously through me till you can get it. It is beautiful. So I just love that. Three different decks brought forward, this storyline that's playing out. That again, as always, we invite you to take in through your own lens, through your own lived experiences. We're just sharing, how it comes up for us using the signs and symbols and just all that other stuff that's in there that helps to bring forward our unique perspectives. But yeah, good stuff.
yeah, I think this was just the perfect card to end the reading with. And of course, to be continued for the episode 44, number 8, coming up at the end of November from Mexico. So me and Marissa will be finally back on the same side of the world.
Inside, closer in our time schedule, time differences, and all the things. So,
Exactly. But yeah, with all that said, Marissa, as always, what is the latest on the menu? Please share.
well, it's that time of year when we start talking about year ahead. So, I'm very excited to say that, of course, we have the Empowerment Pack kicking off for November, a new Empowerment Sharecast, which is my free space on the Marco Polo app, where we come in and I pull cards for the collective each week, and I offer free personal card pulls and all the things. But there's going to be an early bird special on my 2026 year ahead reading, which I just can't believe it's time to talk about, but it's here. So November, there's going to be an early bird offer, and we're talking about a 26 card spread. I don't know how many more years I can do this. Every year I match the year with the number of cards, so it keeps growing. 26 cards just for you that takes the wheel of your year, month by month, quarter by quarter, overarching energies, oracle cards, all the things. So that's my one of my favorite offerings of the year. So that's definitely the one to watch for me. How about you as you're getting back into the saddle slow but sure? What's
Yeah,
going on?
well, I definitely recommend the year ahead reading. I've been having those for past, what, 2, 3 years now, and yeah,
Yeah.
definitely worth going back to throughout the year as well. Something that I always use as a reference, not to live my life by, but as a good reference, especially looking backwards how things play out. And yeah, for me, I'm back. So yeah, if anybody would like a guidance with regards to all of these energies we are experiencing at the moment, then you are welcome to book a reading. Of course, if you are well, I mean, technically we still are in a Libra season when well, yeah. What is it now? Scorpio season? No, we're already in Scorpio season, right? Because I'm so like confused, with all the time. So, but if you are Libra, and obviously I was not working throughout the Libra season, Scorpio or even Sagittarius, you get 25% off your birthday reading. So you are welcome to take advantage of that one. Of course, by the end of the month we'll have a Black Friday. So let's see what that is going to come up with. But yeah, in any case, if you would like to connect, then definitely you can reach out through my website, moonlightsoul369.com, or any of the social media ways. And yeah, we can chat what is there, with regards to the services that I can offer you to support you at this time of the year. And that's, I guess, all I have to say about that.
Perfect. Yeah, well, I highly recommend, and I think that that would be a great way to kind of get some perspective, especially for if it's your birthday month. It's a wonderful time to get a reading for sure, but definitely check out Mila's stuff. And I know that you'll be coming back to share some things and insights and stuff soon, so paying attention to your YouTube space and other channels would be recommended as well.
Yep, especially once all the travel is done and I'm fully settled in Mexico for the next 6 months, so I don't have to keep living out of suitcase anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, with all of that, thank you as always, Marissa. Pleasure to connect and brainstorm all of these energies. And I'll look forward to the next one in November for the final one of 2025. And yeah, I thank everybody for your time and attention. And we wish you all the best for the remainder of this Scorpio season. And see you again next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.